Welcome to Let's Connect on 88.5 Super FM. It is Tuesday, April 5th. We've already entered the fourth month of the year 2022. I want to take a moment to thank all of my listeners, those of you listening on radio on 88.5 Super FM, those of you tuned in to Facebook, tuned in to YouTube Live. Thanks so very much for joining us. We appreciate you guys. I want to give some shout outs to the community of Fosse Jacques. Thank you so very much for joining us. Minnie, Belvedere, St. Philip, the community of Boaden, the community of Belfort, Deville. Thank you so very much for being here with us. Those of you in Espérance, Belle Plaine, Fongelib. Those of you from Monlacroix, Chateau Bel Air, Zeno, good evening to you in Colabet. Welcome to the program, Sulphur Springs, Focaco, Diamond. Good evening to you in Bouton, Etangs, Margaret Tooth, Market Road, Palmis, Forbenier, New Development, Wingsville, Church Street, Smoke Hill, The Gulf, Lenny's Hill, and not forgetting, most importantly of all, Barons Drive. Big up, big up, big up, you guys. It's always great to have you on Let's Connect. This evening, we're going to be targeting issues dealing with the youth. I have a very special guest joining me tonight. She is the president of SLPYO, a youth organization in St. Lucia. I want to say good evening to all of you from SLPYO island-wide. Thanks for joining us this evening on Let's Connect. Just a couple of announcements. We want to give a shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Matthew Saltibus of Delia Street, Wingsville. We wish you all speedy recovery from your illness. Also, we ask for prayers for Miss Angie of Palmis, who is currently at St. Jude. We also want to say belated birthday greetings to Miss Sylvina Leon and Miss Bernal Alce. I hope you guys enjoyed your birthday over the weekend. We have a few funerals coming up. The funeral of Charles Victor George will be on Wednesday, April 6th at 3 p.m. The funeral of Dunstan Alexander will be on Friday, April 8th at 3 p.m. And the funeral of Peter Weeks will be on April 11th. Okay, so big up to all those of you on the live. We want to have a big shout out to Mina Sonson of Miku. Mina Sonson, wants to shout out Miku, White Rock, Grand Riviere. And we want to give a shout out to Mary Calix joining us from Castries. We want to shout out Adelta Bowens, who's always tuned in from St. Vincent. Thank you so very much for joining our program. Okay, so tonight, like I said, we have the president of SLPYO with us this evening. That is Miss Shermean Perpie. Thank you so very much for joining us, Miss Shermean Perpie. Say that again.
Renata. Hi, can you hear me?
Say that again. I didn't catch it. I'm seeing your lips moving, but I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Just hold on, we're not getting any sound.
Hello.
From you.
Hear me?
My technician is checking. Shermean, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think we're getting something. Okay, Shermean?
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now. Great.
Okay,
Good
wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for giving SLPYO the opportunity to be part of this forum.
No problem. We love having you on. It's Youth Month. April is recognized worldwide as Youth Month. So I wanted to have our SLP Youth Organization president on board with us for the first program for Youth Month. So,
Okay.
Mina, can you hear us? Mina said she was not hearing. Mina, tell me, let me know if you can hear us now. Okay, good. All right, so we can be heard clearly on our platforms. So let's get into it. We have a few topics we want to we want to get on with this evening. I got a message from one of our youth who was telling me about a situation where they noticed that a lot of advertising about events saying that only vaccinated persons are allowed entry. But then you notice that some places are actually checking for it, while others are not. For example, they gave an example of Empire nightclub, always packed with persons, and there's no evidence seen that they are checking for vaccination cards or anything like that. However, there was a football activity in Viewfort, and they were rejecting persons based on not having their vaccination record with them, and it ended up spilling onto the vendors that they were unable to make some money that evening because of lack of participation, lack of attendance, because persons were being turned away. So my question this evening: what can we do in terms of getting all these regulations or all these stipulations regulated, that persons can still be able to attend events, that the youth can participate in sporting activities, participating social activities, and still be observing the protocols, and also so that our vendors can still make some money? Is there anything that SLPYO can do? Can we advocate on behalf of anybody? Is there anybody we can approach? What can we do with these type of situations?
Okay, that is a very good question. But before I answer your question, I want to greet each and every one of our young people in St. Lucia. I want to say hats off, especially to our YOs. May I mention a few names? Luan Estefan, Mr. Dilsuk, Miss Nival Ogis, yourself, Reniata, wonderful job, I must say. My very best and humble young gentleman, um, Travis Mitchell, Marvin Eugene, Aldrich Edward. I so admire this gentleman. Oz Montut, Ashel Paul from Castries Southeast, Mr. Lancico, um, Miss Nicola. Let me shout out Ryan James, Janet James from Mikud North, and all of our wiles. I want to say a very good afternoon to you and to every single member of our team. um you can recall that our prime minister others made fun of him and everything, but you must always remember that it was not only about him, but it was about our future, and we could not allow our future to be in the hands of persons who do not care. So I want to tell them, great job at the last election. We campaigned, and here we are. And you will surely see us in government taking our rightful place, not just as SLPYO, but ensuring that every young person gets what they deserve. So back to your question. I don't work with Ministry of Health, but my answer to this is, if we are following the protocols, then it should be done at Empire, at the Viewfort Field, at churches, at restaurants, name it. The protocols must be observed. But Empire has always been a very popular place, and in the South, and we, mm, maybe more police presence should have been there to ensure that protocols are being established and followed. But I also believe COVID-19 is everyone's business. And if by your chance you believe going to Empire, um, where there are loads of people, you want to risk your life, then it's up to you. But it is up to each and every one of us to obey the protocols. COVID-19, when it comes, I did get COVID-19. When it comes, it doesn't look for face, color, or race, you know. So we have to be careful. But one thing I must say is, now I have noticed the Ministry of Tourism has relaxed the protocols for our travelers. So for vaccinated persons, they only need to come in with their passports, and unvaccinated must have a negative PCR test. So I'm still calling on everyone to, obey the protocols, do what they have to do, and pretty soon we will be back in a normal setting. When it comes to SLPYO, we have been advocating. I will ask our PRO to share the same video that we did last year, because we have been advocating about that virus. And so I believe we need to continue spreading the news, because COVID-19, I don't believe it will just go away, but we can get ourselves back in a normal setting as long as we continue doing what we have to do. We will be okay. We will be fine.
Okay. Um, you mentioned about increased police presence. So, is it possible that we can therefore advocate for increased police presence at all social events in order to make sure that protocols are observed?
I believe so, Reniata. Police presence, that is key. I know Officer Kakal used to go around Beaufort North. That's the constituency he's from. And sometimes he would, ask some of the customers or the patrons at the bar to, there are too many of you all here, or if you are not vaccinated. He would go around doing that. I won't say that the way he did it was the right way, but at the same time, he was trying his best to keep us away, trying to stop the virus from spreading. So with police presence, not just for them to come and socialize, but to do their work in that sense too, at least assist in that regard. I also believe organizers of these events need to also try their best to provide their own sets of persons, maybe hire a few more employees in when you're having these events, you know, to assist with that.
I think what I notice most of the time, almost every flyer will say COVID protocols in effect, but then there's no actual enforcing of it. And I also feel like in terms of specifically Officer Kakal, when you say like maybe his approach might not have been the best approach, but a lot of it too stems from the typical public disregard for the police. So I still feel like we need to maybe bring it back into the base of it, into the home and into the schools, that we need to
Mhm.
teach some sort of or teach some way that people need to respect the police. So if the police comes in, you'll hear they'll start to, hey, they'll make noise. They'll be like, move there, especially if he's outnumbered. I would not want an officer to fear for his life because he's trying to come and help save your life by asking you to, follow your protocols.
Right,
And
right.
then we have to almost go back to the basics and teach respect for the police. We need to
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of maybe police day where the police come and speak to the kids in the school and explain what their role is, and maybe give out some pamphlets to take home to the parents, or I don't know, there needs to be some sort of due respect for the police when they come out to say you'll have too many persons at an event. Please, we need to ask for some, social distancing. We need to do something so that persons can understand that the police are not there just to end your good time. They're there to help save your life.
Reniata, you made a good point. I don't want to pull too much away from the topic, but then when you speak about respect to the police officers, I think that itself is a topic that we need to have a discussion on nationally, because of the increase in crime and violence. I believe we need to bring our police officers to the forefront. I think we need to start these educational programs, these social programs, increase on them in all schools, preschools, begin from preschools to all schools, into the homes, into the community. And so we community members can also put our trust back in the police force, in our police officers, because they are our family, they are our friends. And so a lot more needs to be done, not just for COVID-19, but to regain our trust and the relationship in the police force.
Yes, I do think that it's something that is necessary. And like you said, we don't want to stray too much from the topic. So let us
Right.
bring it a little back in again. We want to
Yes.
before I do that, let me remind our listeners that if you have any questions regarding the youth or anything you would like to ask the SLPYO president, please send questions in on the Facebook live chat. I am monitoring it. So if you have a question that you'd like us to ask on air, please do so in the Facebook live chat so that I may see it. Okay, so we spoke a little bit about the football games. So I noticed that our Minister for Youth and Sports, Honorable Kenson Kasime, he has been advocating for more physical activity amongst our youth, amongst the general public. So, do you have any comments regarding the upkeep of our national playing fields, sporting facilities, these sort of things? What is the SLPYO's mandate in terms of recreational sporting facilities around the island? Is there anything that we can say is being done, that we've seen being done, that we can talk about?
Well, I can say that within the year 2016 to 2021, we also that the former government neglected our playing facilities. Right now, I can see a change in my constituency, Viewfort North, where I am from, and therefore I know that the playing facilities will be back to a good place, a welcoming environment for our young persons. And as a youth organization, I want to ask that we continue to do what we must advocate on behalf of the young people of St. Lucia. We have gone around St. Lucia within the last few years, cleaning different playing facilities, holding different activities. And so, as the St. Lucia Labour Party and the two independent candidates are the ones in cabinet, I seek to continue to urge on every single person's behalf. And I know that Minister Kazime has spots in his front pocket. He started this thing a very long time ago, and I believe the ministry he has is well suited. And I cannot see anything else than good news coming to the young people from Minister Kazime. So on behalf of SLPYO, I would like to congratulate him. I think that's the first time I have been here after election. So I'd like to congratulate him, especially on his ministry, and to ask him to continue to do the good work on behalf of our young people.
I agree with you on that 100%. He recently paid a visit to the Sufra field in relation to finding a temporary location for cricket practices to be able to go on while a permanent location for cricket is still being sourced. So, like, I agree with you in terms of him having sports in the forefront of his mind, and definitely looking forward to what he's going to be coming with. I think he's planning quite a few activities for his constituency for Youth Month as well. So I want to echo your sentiments in terms of congratulating him. He definitely deserves the portfolio of youth and sports, and he definitely has the sentiment of the whole youth and sports in the forefront of his mind. So we're on board with that, and we hope to see. We're looking forward to see greater things from him coming up. Um, we know that Youth Month usually has youth parliament, and we usually get a chance to experience various youth from the different communities coming forward to represent and to do their presentations. But I feel like we need more representation from the youth in other areas other than just youth parliament. What do you think? What areas do you think that we need to get more youth representation for the island wide?
Okay. When it comes to youth, youth and involvement in different things, that is a very sensitive and a very good question. Not just to me, but that is something for all solutions to focus on. But I want to say that we have seen a number of youth involvement throughout the St. Lucia Liberal Party, especially when we are in government. And so let us start with this government. We have Senator Kejiana Toussaint Shalri. We have Senator Lisa Jawahi at in the higher house of assembly. We have Honorable Jeremiah Norbert, and these three individuals, may I say, I'm older than them. So
I
we
I'm older than Jeremiah at his last birthday. I'm like, wait, Jeremiah just turned 42? I'm older than him.
yes, so I'm older than them. So that tells me that that is a good start for the youth, you know. And we have Kenson Kazime, who's just a bit older than I am. So we are on the right path. We have young persons in the highest decision making board on island, and so I must say hats off to them. But we do need some improvements when it comes in the other sectors, so I'm expecting to see it coming on stream very soon. um I also want to tell the young people to not be shy. Don't stay at the back and say I wanted to be part of this or I wanted to do that. If you are available and you know you have the passion, that is your passion, you have the ability, you have the skills, come forward, put yourself in the spotlight, let people know it's one to help each other. So if I know that Reniata, her passion is in social media or in the media, I may have somebody who can assist her. But if Renata stays at the back and say, you know, that is my passion, then the passion dies, and then years later you say, if I knew or I should have. And so I want to ask young people to put their feet forward, speak to people, let them know what your passion is, what your drive is, what your abilities, what your skills are, and so each one help one, and we will get there eventually.
I want to add to what you just said. I feel like the youth need to take advantage of their constituency offices because if, like you said, if we do not know what your skill set is, there is no way
Mhm.
that we can assist you. If I do not know that you can bake, I cannot. I might find out that there's an entrepreneurship at a hotel for a baker, and I would never think of you if I did not know you could bake.
Right.
Just on Sunday, we had Good Deeds Day in Sufre, and we took some children to Ted Paul for a picnic. We had an Easter egg hunt, and I was doing face painting. And it was only then I'm getting to know one of the persons there who works with me all the time. I did not even know she was able to edit videos, and she was good at putting together
Yeah.
marketing. I only got to know right then, and I was like, hey, if I knew that, there are so many other things that I could have thought of for her before that, and now, but now that I know, at least I can. So if something comes up, I can say, okay, wait, that's something she's good at. Somewhere I can fit her in. Somewhere I can put her in. I can liaise with her on that. If you do not know what the people around you are capable of, what the youth in your community are capable of,
Right.
then you don't know what you can do for them. You don't know how to steer them in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to know what they're capable of.
Very true. Very true.
Okay. I want to touch a little on a very sensitive topic in light of recent social media buzz circulating a video of a young lady at 14 years old who was recently, it was posted around that she was missing, but then she posted a video, a live, or I'm not sure if it was live or if it's just a recorded video, giving out information that the reason she left home, the reason she does not want to return, stating that she would prefer to be on the street than to return to her home because of sexual abuse. Now, we've been noticing in lately, the last couple of months, so far for 2022, I believe there's been maybe 6 notices or more of missing teens, and there's been speculation of sexual abuse at home, sexual abuse from relatives, sexual abuse from step parents, things of that sort. I know that Minister Kazime has said, I've heard him say so, that they are providing counseling for youth, that there are persons that are available for assistance. What message can we put out what steps can we take? I know it's probably going to be something very tedious. It's going to be a long road for us to really get to the meat of the matter. But what steps have been taken? Can you tell us what steps are being taken by any of the ministries, by any of the youth organizations? Is there anything we can do that we are planning to do? What can you tell us in light of this type of abusive situations that are coming to light?
Honestly, Reniata, I did not know that you would speak about this situation, but then I did write a bit that I want to say about that because it is very alarming. Let me tell you, that is a very sensitive topic to me. I have been speaking with one of our leading women in SLP about that, and I keep on sending her the little videos or the photos that I see. And sometimes I stay home and I ask myself, what is really going on in our society? Because this is concerning, and it brings a lot of concern to me than ever before. That does not mean that it wasn't always happening before. Because
Yes,
I remember when
to know more about it.
Right, when Jugwa just came on Hot FM, he used to mention the young girls' names and tell them, Ale la kay mama, mama ou ka gade pou la femme ou ka gade pou. I can remember him mentioning their names. There was that popular thing, and Marcellus Miller started a show asking parents, Esu sav kote ishu ye? So I remember these two programs, but then there isn't enough programs, especially on our radio stations and television, um, attracting our young people, sharing concerns and love towards them. And that is something I believe the young persons need to look into, our adults need to look into, and sometimes we lose our way on the wayside. In all honesty, sometimes I ask myself whether the parents or guardians really do not know where their children are, or whether they really for sure do not know that children are going through these situations, because it is heartbreaking to see a child go through these things, or every other week you hear a young person is missing, and it is between a special age range, and that is alarming in society. I can tell you, after seeing the recent video of the teenage girl explaining her situation, remember she said her current location.
Yeah, she did. She said
She
it.
said her current location, stating she is in the public eye as well. She also said she was on the bus and she knew that this person saw her, and she keep on saying, let's not pretend like y'all did not see me. And she said, do I look like I'm missing? And you could see her. And this is a young lady that speaks fluent English. So you can see she is very
Express herself.
intelligent in that aspect. That touched me, Reniata, because I can say this child, there is something unique about this child. She may be going through an issue, but right now I think people need to come together and assist her, assist whatever situation she's going through. And she gave a number of things, because she's not dumb. She gave a number of things that she believed, that can ease her situation. She spoke about going to her dad. She spoke about things that I don't even want to say, that she said she don't mind doing, just for her to survive. But she right now do not want to be in that situation. So as young people, we need to really think about these things. Would you want to hear your sister or see your sister or your brother on a live stating these kind of things, knowing that you know that your sister or your brother is going through that, or that you were present, and maybe you denied her, you cast her aside, saying she's lying or he's lying, so we're not going to take this seriously. These are things that we must undertake. So we as a youth organization, we need to tilt our focus a bit away from politics. Yes, we are a political organization, but right now we need to tilt our focus a bit to vulnerable people, and not just SLPYO, but all youth groups need to do that, Reniata. All youth groups need to come together, whether it's SLPYO, United Youth, um, Students Council, church groups, LGBT. etc. All young groups, we need to tilt our focus on whatever it is right now, and let's focus more on our young people who are going through these situations. Some of us may have gone through it before and we survived it without counseling or whatever, we overcome it. But we have a lot of young persons who are suffering through that, Renata. And it is a totally different thing to know of a situation and do nothing. Therefore, we need forums, we need workshops to educate our peers in different ways that we can assist our young people. We need to seek resources into assisting them, also both in safe spaces. I don't think we have sufficient. We only have the girls training center and the boys training center. I believe we need to have a home
But
to have these people, and we need to have a special program. It may be called maybe return to normalcy. I know when you're dealing with a disaster, there's the return to happiness program. So maybe we need to have a return to normalcy program as for people who go through that, so they can go through the processes of bringing their normal self back to the reality and to go back into society. Because one thing I can tell you, we have lost a number of young people. We have lost a number of young people on this island. Some were looking for love and attention or acceptance in groups or from someone, and things went bad, and unfortunately they lost their lives. We have people who have committed suicide, and sometimes they give us the signs. They say parables, they say things to us, or they come boldly and they tell us, and so we laugh at it and we take it for granted. But I want us today to realize that we have a problem in our society with our young people, and so all of us need to come together to assist them the best way that we can. And we must look for forums and workshops to educate ourselves as well, who wants to help these young people, because sometimes we may be broken inside and believe that we are okay. So in order to assist these people, we too need to focus on ourselves, get the education that we need, the wisdom that we need on things like that, and so we can assist these young people. I also urge our parents to, listen to your children, spend some time with your children, be your children's friend, not the best friend that will always be there and tell them it's okay, and don't tell them where wrong is wrong and right is wrong. But give your children the time that they deserve. You know, some parents are very busy, we understand that, but pay attention to your children, especially when they are becoming adolescents and getting into the teenage life. That's the time the people lives change forever. And later on in their life, you do not want to regret not doing what you were supposed to do as a parent, which is just listening to your child.
exactly. They need to build some sort of a relationship from
Mm-hmm.
early o'clock, from early age, not when they're ready for CXC. That's when you have to start preparing, trying to get to know them and trying to figure out what their future is going to be. From before that, we have a comment in our live from Bernadette Nelson, who said the thing is society used to raise children. Now that is not the case. Now we used to say it takes a village to raise a child, and we see that like you said, with a lot of parents working more hours, they're out of the home more, the children are left to their own devices more, or they're left with neighbors or with so-called friends, persons you think you can trust,
Mm-hmm.
and then we don't know what's going on. So what I think we need to urge, like you said, with the youth organizations, the church groups, the LGBTQ groups, all the different persons who are involved with youth in sports in all other areas, we need to urge them to be the village for these children, for the more vulnerable persons. When you know that a child's parent is always at work and they're always left to their own devices, check on them. If you're somebody that works with them, like if you're a coach and you work with a
Mm-hmm.
particular child all the time and you know that child is going home on an empty stomach and maybe they have to go and look for food by a neighbor, check on that child. See
Yes.
what kind of neighbor is feeding them. What the situation is where they're getting that food. Where the situation is where the person is buying them clothes. Where the situation is where the person is buying them cell phones. We need to
Mm-hmm.
monitor these little interactions that our children are going through. and especially the parents that don't check on the things the children come home with. Sometimes when a child comes home with a toy that you did not buy for them or nobody you know bought it for them, you need to check on where that's coming from, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what sort of angle that is being initiated by giving them that little toy, or by, you have to check on these little interactions your child goes through when you're not around, and how that person is interacting with your child. You never know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just looking at our live. Good evening, Lucia Hippolyte. Good evening, Marvel Modest Lubin. Good evening, Tina Alexander. Good evening, Buffer Prosper. Good evening, Nicholas Alcendo coming from London, UK. Thanks for joining us on Let's Connect on 88.5 Super FM. So, in terms also of the situation with the young lady, I hope that persons have reached out to her. Those who, like she said, persons who are seeing her and who know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do some, like you said, we really need to do something about these type of situations that's going on. I know there's been a lot of buzz. I noticed Venus Rastaman Cherry on Facebook was speaking a lot about it today, and I'm hoping that the Rise organization that he's part of, I hope that they've reached out to her, and I hope that she's getting the help that she needs, because a lot of times the traumas of this situation in childhood, they follow us through to adulthood, and you never know how it's going to come across, how it's going to affect you. And we have persons who are adults now, and they're listening to these type of situations, they're seeing it, they're seeing the videos, they're seeing the news, and then it's rehashing the same situation. So I
Very
urge
true.
persons to get the necessary help. Find somebody that you can speak to, that can counsel you, that can give you some sort of an outlet, so that you can get past these traumas, because you can lead a healthy life, you can lead you can have a future. There is a way out of it. We just need to get the right persons involved to ease you and ease your situation and help you out of it. We want to say good
Mm-hmm.
evening to Honorable Moses Jabaptist. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on our live. Good evening to Brenda Emmanuel from Brooklyn. Thank you very much for joining us on Let's Connect. Okay, we started looking at youth officers and their involvement in various aspects in St. Lucia. I want to talk about empowering our youth officers. How can we empower them? How can we empower their employment to better able them to be less dependent on adults, less dependent on government, not necessarily government, but on the system, that they can feel empowered, that they can go out into the community and do good work without having to depend on assistance from some sort of entity. How can we empower our youth officers island wide?
Okay, wonderful question, Renia. So before I answer you, let me still call on a few names that I missed. I want to say a good afternoon to Kezia Silis from Denry South and the newly appointed YO for Denry South as well. I want to say hello, and I want to call out our National Youth Officer Nyla Lafontaine, Mr. Ted Bernard. I also want to call and say hello and thank you to Marvel, my Marvel, as I always call her. I want to tell her thank you, and we see her hard work, and I wish her all the best on her um, appointment as SLPU new PRO. I know you can do it, Marvel. Go out there, shine, push through, and show what you can do. I want to say thank you to Martin during our campaign. Martin Philogen. He had his vehicle everywhere with us with the poster of our Prime Minister, Honorable Philippe J. Pierre. I must say thank you, Martin. Although he's not within 35, but he was there with us and he stuck until the end. So thank you, Martin. um, Riani, Bianca, Benji, members of my executive. Hello, and here I am. The two Wendy's and the Windy who was there during our campaign. And happy belated birthday to Honorable Moses Jabatis, my boss. I hope you're still wearing your crown from yesterday. I know birthdays are big things these days. So happy belated birthday. And I want to thank you for always having my back when it's necessary. So thank you very much. When it comes to the question, Renata, I would like to be frank with not just our wives, but all our young people. But special attention to our wives, but to all our young people. I want all of them to know that we and others before us have always been campaigning that young people would get their own place in society or their own sector, their own department when it comes to um, having a place in government and all of that. But what can I say? We have provided the avenues and governments have provided the avenues, but with very limited resources. So yes, there's an avenue, but there isn't enough resources. And so sometimes you get a lot of young people with their abilities, their skills, and they cannot go forward because the resources are limited. Okay? But under an SLP government, we have benefited quite a bit. So let's go back. Let me refresh some of the memories. When it comes to employment and skills, let's go back. Let's remember NSDC, which was the total opposite of CHTTI. Let's talk about smiles. Let's talk about um, all the different programs that under the St. Lucia Labour Party during 2011 to 2016 that came into place, and
Nice.
immediately after, right, and a lot of our young people gained employment through there, and not just employment, but they were open to the different experiences. They grew a special kind of love towards certain programs, and so they went over to getting themselves qualified, as in going back to school and getting their certificate or their associate's degree, name it, their diplomas, and so they're moving up the ladder. So that is a great plus for us. So I want to touch, I want to talk about that. Let's talk about presently. I want to tell all young persons that we are now under a new formed administrative leading by SLP and two independent candidates. And I'm saying it that way forcefully because never have we ever gotten a government like this, a government by the people, for the people, and therefore they're putting the people first. And I just love that style, Reniata. It's something different, something to embrace, and something for us not to point fingers at anyone but ourselves if we fail. So I am urging the young people right now to grab the opportunity that is before you, and that it is the youth economy. No longer must we wait on any idea from anyone, for anybody to come and tell us, hey, I have this idea and I want you to work with it. And that doesn't suit our liking. That is not our skills. That is not our passion. I am asking them, to put their ideas together. No longer we must wait for anybody. So please sign up. Let's apply. Let us please apply to the Sanford Louis Community College Upscaling Academy. SLPYO will also be hosting a few workshops and a few forums for young persons, because you need to know how to do your proposal writing. You need to know, the different aspects. So we will be having forums on this, and I'm asking every young person to get on board. The flyers will be circulated. You do not have to be an SLP. You do not have to be a UWP. You do not have to be any Ps. But for your own good, let's join the forum and let us apply for the course. And it is absolutely free. The deadline is tomorrow. Let's get on board, sign up. I sign for it. It's a program, and I believe it suits me because I also have a non-political group called Yelp. Some of my members are getting back on board, and I am urging all of them to apply for it, because we got a grant and now we have some beehives. We are also going back into CMOS. We are going into agro processing. We are going into so many other things. And then this program will assist my group, and I want to see other solutions, other young persons who have the skills, the ability into doing craft, into doing food, whatever it is. Um, if you are an artist, if you are a singer, this program suits you. And what I want the wires to know, be brave, take that chance. At that time, you do not have to depend on the parliamentarians or the prime minister or anyone. because when you become your own boss, you can also assist your peers with a job, you know. So let's change things around, because COVID-19 came, and as harsh as it was, it taught us a great lesson. It affected all sectors within our country, all. And so we need to be more dependent, we need to be more independent on our own. Let us put our skills and our ability to work, and so we will see a better future in the near time. You know, there will be things in place, the funds will be available. So let's get ourselves equipped, let's get ourselves occupied within the time, and when the time is right for us to move from point A to point B, not depending on any parliamentarian or any any administration rather, but from our strength to strength.
I agree with you 100%, 1000% on that. I want to echo what you said about signing up for the Arthur Lewis Community College program, upscaling. Anybody who's interested in getting more information about that, who wants the link, it is available from the district rep's office. I can send it to you via WhatsApp. If you want to reach out to me over Facebook, that's fine. I can get you the information. Like we said, the deadline is tomorrow. If you are a young person, you do not have to belong to any political party to participate. Please take advantage of these programs that are being offered. There is, like we said, the youth economy has received monies that has been allocated for the purpose of the youth who have their business ideas, who want to join up, who want to sign up, who want to register their business, who want to do something for themselves. There are avenues available to you. Please take advantage of it while you have this opportunity. Okay, please, we have information. If you follow the various constituency groups Facebook pages, the St. Lucia Labour Party Facebook page, the information is circulated everywhere. Please do not remain ignorant of what is available to you. Reach out. There's so many different persons that are involved that can help you, that can guide you. Please take the opportunity. Tomorrow is the deadline for the upscaling, but there are other things that come back all the time. So still follow the pages, like the pages, subscribe to the pages. You'll get all the opportunities will be presented to you as they come along. So take advantage of it. Do not hesitate. We have a comment in the chat regarding the youth groups who claim to help, shelter, or give advice, but they have been known that when persons come to them, the information gets put back out on the streets. Now, this is something I've heard a lot of persons speak about. They say that they don't go to counseling, they don't go to the priest, they don't go to the hospitals because the persons there put their information out. You come to the hospital to see somebody, maybe you come and claim that you got raped, and they're afraid the nurses will go back and tell their business. They're afraid that persons who see them at the hospital will go back and tell their business. We need to stop this sort of, I don't even know what to call it, this sort of insensitivity in areas of professionalism. If you're a counselor, if you're somebody who persons come to speak about sensitive topics, you need to practice some kind of patient doctor privilege where you do not go back and repeat the person's situation. Sometimes you're only making the problem worse. That goes for police, that goes for nurses, that goes for churches, church groups, persons who have influence, that persons will come to talk to them. These are the type of things we need to have a sense of professionalism where we do not repeat persons' business, put their business back on the streets. It is something our society needs to stop. That goes for sharing of sensitive footage as well. When it comes to your phone, if you have a video of an underage person being molested, that is not something to share. If you have footage of something sensitive material, especially if the person's face, if the person can be identified, these are the type of things we need to stop doing because we are sometimes making the problem worse. We have a comment from Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste. He says that so many young people have been abused and we have to help them. We agree 100% that we need to do better. We need to do more especially for our young persons. We need, like we always say, the youth are the future. The young people are the future. We need to protect them. We need to make it safer for them so that by the time they become adults, they in turn can do the same for the youth coming up behind them.
Yes.
Okay, I think we have more to one. We have time to cover one more topic. There has been talk recently. I heard the question was posed to once again Honorable Kenton Kazime was asked this question regarding a possible sex offender registry. I heard it being discussed on one of the lunchtime programs as well, and there was a bit of talk regarding how long it takes to get somebody distinguished as a sex offender. There was a case they referenced that took 20 years. The child in question is now an adult and still had to testify in order to get this person, assigned the label of sex offender, so that they therefore, if they have to be put on a registry. So what are your thoughts on whether do we need a sex registry in St. Lucia, sex offender registry in St. Lucia? Is it something we should be advocating for as a youth group, as a youth organization? What can we do to speed up the process of getting these cases underway so that persons can be put on that registry if it has to come to it?
Okay, your first question is, do we need it? Yes, we do need it, because without things like that, Reniata, I want to, you know, you see that question, that's a very, very sensitive question. And based on the knowledge that I know, it is a very touchy one for me as well. But we do need it. And the reason why I am saying that is because you have individuals in your society who don't get caught, or who don't go, who live their normal lives doing that to children day in and day out. And it's like a pattern for them, you know we need things like that in place. We need a change in our society. And we cannot have, sorry for using that word, we cannot have these monsters out there continuing to do this to our innocent children over and
Yes.
over again. And sometimes they are so bold that they start doing it in public, you know. So I don't know how much we can advocate on that, on the sex offenders registry, but it is something that we need to look into as an organization. It is something that we need to speak a bit more about, not just about the sex offenders registry, but about persons molesting and abusing the children. We need to shame them in society, whether we know them or not. But by speaking about it, I know that they will maybe be afraid, get more afraid, might cease from it, because this is something that's affecting our people. Just imagine, Reniata, you got molested when you were a child. I'm just using you get molested when you were a child, and then you end up having two girls, and all of a sudden your daughter comes to you and tell you, mommy, that person touched me the wrong place, or that person did that to me the wrong place, or that person did that to me, or you see a bloody clothes and whatever. And it is that same person who molested you, took advantage of you when you were a child. So I'm saying, if we have things like that in place, then maybe the generations will not be affected that much, you know. And these people are not strangers to our children. They are not. It hurts, Reniata speaking about it. It hurts. It hurts. It touches a part of me, because I may not have been one, but I may know a few persons who have gone through that. And because of the lack there is, that happened to their child as well. And so in society, we need to stop things like that. We need to speak out. We need to be the ears and the mouth of our voiceless. We need to take the stand as a society and a small country, and ensuring that our children grow within their range, that our children don't get pushed into things too early. And our parents need to pay special attention to their children, and don't force the children into growing too quick than they
Protect
must
their
be.
innocence. Protect their innocence while they're still young.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. I think we definitely touched on a lot of the sensitive issues that have been plaguing our young people, especially the last few weeks. It has been so prevalent. It has been it's been right in your face, staring at you. You cannot avoid it. It is something that, like you said, it has been in society before, but with social media, we're more attuned to it. We're more recognizing it all the time. But it is something we definitely need to, and we need to go through all the places that it could be. We need to start in the homes. We need to start in the schools. We need to start in the churches. We need to target all the bases. We need to cover all our bases when it comes to protecting the innocence of the children of Saint Lucia. And there is not enough that we can do. All persons need to get on board, of every walk of life. We need to
Mhm.
do something, and we need to do it now. It's not tomorrow we have to do it. We have to do it now. So I want
Right.
to take a moment to urge those of you listening, those of you who can and are willing to share the information, share
Mhm.
when you find out that something, help them. If you find out somebody in your area needs help, please help them. If you cannot help them, find someone who can help them. If you cannot think of somebody who can help, ask somebody who might know somebody that can help. There is always some way, something that can be done, and we need to stop turning a blind eye to what's happening in our society, because like you said, sometimes it's the person that's well known in the community, and sometimes you might see the person do something that you might find a little strange, and you'll turn a blind eye. No, don't turn a blind eye. We have to protect the innocence of the children of St. Lucia. We need to do better. um Miss Puppy, I know you did a lot of shout outs, but I want to give you another moment. If you have anybody else you want to give a shout out to in your family or friends, persons outside of SLPYO, let's take a quick moment. We have a few minutes left on the program. Take a quick moment to give some final shout outs.
Reniata, I am forever grateful and I want to thank you for having me on your show. Um, it's always a pleasure chatting with you, and I want to let you know that you have a bright future ahead of you. Take advantage of it.
Thank you.
I admire your spirit. But when it comes to SLPYO, I want to thank the founders of SLPYO, those who started it, Honorable Alva Baptiste, um, Moses Jabatis was there, Lincoln Francis Urban, all of them, um, all past executive members of SLPYO, Mondi Luis, Calix George Jr., name them, Alron Baptiste, son of Honorable Alva Baptiste. I want to thank all of them, and it is through their hard work and dedication. That is why I am here today. Um, it is my last term as SLPYO president, and so I want to let our members know that we will be having elections soon. So get yourself intact, get yourself on board. Um, be a member of the St. Lucia Liberal Party. It is the best party for bread, freedom, and justice. This is the best party for our people. That is where our people see the light. That is where we see our people benefit, and we see our people prosper. So be a part of our party. Get on board. Be a part of our youth organization. Young people, be a part of our youth organization. There is space for each and every one of you. And so I want to say happy International Youth Month to everybody. Oh, and Reniata, there is this lovely lady I met Barron's Drive during our campaign, Miss Irene O'Geese. I don't know if you know her. I
I do.
want to say good afternoon to Miss Irene, and she told me that as long as it's Miss Emma Hippolyte going up for suffrage, we will have this candidate in the House of Parliament. So, Irene, I want to say hats off to you. Thank you for continuing the hard work, and happy International Youth Month to each and every one of our young persons and society. Please let us assist our young people to see they go forward and not abuse them, not shame them. Everyone deserves their rightful place in society, and let us uplift each other. Let us continue to encourage and congratulate our young persons. So happy International Youth Month, and thank you, Renata, for having me on your show. Thank you so very much.
It was definitely a pleasure having you, and definitely a pleasure working with you the last few years. I will miss you sorely as president of SLPYO. I can tell you that. I want to read this statement here on the live chat from Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste. He said, "Thanks for your service, Shermean Perpie. You were arguably the best SLPYO president ever. Best wishes." I think everybody listening from SLPYO can echo that statement. We want to wish you all the very best. I want to thank you so very much for starting off my youth month for me the best possible way. I wish we could have had another hour to chat about other things, and I know we'll have a chance to chat in other avenues, but it has been wonderful having you for this hour on Let's Connect on 88.5 Super FM. I want to thank all those of you listening on radio, those of you who joined us in the live chat on Facebook, those of you listening on YouTube. Thanks so very much for being here with us. It has been a wonderful first show for the month of April. Once again, happy International Youth Month, and look out for all the activities. Sufra, we have a few activities coming out. Look out to the Let's Connect Facebook page, the Sufra Constituency Facebook page, Emma Hippoly's Facebook page for all the information of all the upcoming activities. We have quite a great few things coming up for this month. So until next week, Tuesday, we have another great, interesting show for you guys. Until then, you've been listening to Let's Connect.